Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I'm actually going to take a little time and go over some of the questions that people have left in the comment section on some of my videos. Real quick, I do want to thank everybody for all the kind words, for the encouragement, the inspiration on the last video that I posted, my 1 year fasting anniversary, or at least 1 year of me consistently fasting and kind of sharing my story there. Seeing all the comments, it truly means a lot to me. I know I might sound like a broken record when I say I appreciate it and all that kind of stuff, but that's why I try to comment and reply to everybody, because it does mean a lot to me, and hopefully that inspiration goes back to you and it helps you on your weight loss journey. So the first question I have here says, how would you describe the feeling in your body in terms of mindset, appetite in the time frame of a fasting session? I could feel that the hardest part is between 16 hours and about 35 hours into the fast. So for me, I think the hardest part when it comes to like the fasting time frame, it varies. There are days, actually recently, I get pretty hungry. I won't say the morning after, but it could be 12 hours into the fast. And I think a lot of that has to do with me kind of tweaking how much I've been eating. I believe I've been eating less calories lately, and I think kind of lowering the number I normally eat has kind of strengthened that hunger. I've talked about this before, but there's a hormone called ghrelin, and I don't know the exact science behind it, but I believe ghrelin is that hunger hormone that hits you and lets you know it's time to eat. And apparently it hits around the same time every day. If you're able to not eat during that time frame and let that pass, your hunger will pass. And the level of hunger that you get around that time frame will start to drop. Like it goes in waves. I've said that before. The hunger hits in waves, and the best way to handle those waves is to ride it out. If you are physically feeling fine, if the only thing that is bothering you is hunger, you can let that pass. This is the part where I talk about how a lot of this sounds automatic for me, or feels automatic for me, that I'm running on autopilot, but that isn't always the case. I'm human. I do experience hunger. It does come. So even though I've been doing this for so long now, a big part of me is still very disciplined, where I tell myself, you're not eating today. You've made the decision to fast for 65 hours. You're going to fast for 65 hours. And that is discipline. That's willpower on my part. Is it easier than a year ago? Definitely easier. That's the kind of mindset when it comes to my hunger and when it comes to appetite. Like, yeah, I get hungry. It happens. It does come in those waves. And then I kind of just say, no, you're not eating. And then I let it go, which is also why when I do 65-hour fasts, on the day of that, hitting that 65 hours, I start to get super hungry. But that's also because I know I'm about to break my fast. That is a mental thing. I know I'm about to eat. So I think about food. I think about what I'm going to eat. And that hunger, I don't know if that ghrelin creeps back up or it's just the mentality of it. But I think the one thing I've learned to do is just stay disciplined when it comes to that, because the one thing I've shared with other people or in my videos is that the food will always be there. The food will always be there. It'll be there tomorrow. It'll be there 2 days from now. It'll be there in 8 hours. It's not going anywhere. I mean, unless it's going to spoil or whatever, but that's where you kind of have to plan things out. I'm sorry for that beeping. It's gone. It's just, I live on the top floor, and they've been fixing my roof and whatever, and it's been very annoying, and I can only control so much. So I hope I answer that question as well as I could. If I didn't, please feel free. Leave a comment, continue the question. I'll try to kind of like answer the rest of that. Okay, so the second question here says, what do you think switched in your brain to be able to start fasting a long period of time right away? I battle emotional/binge eating, and I've been able to do a few 36-hour fasts a week, but staying consistent is the problem. Okay, so one of the reasons I wanted to answer this is because this question, this type of behavior resonates with me. It's who I am. It's kind of what I've done in the past. So what do you think switched in your brain to be able to start fasting for a long period of time right away? I actually said this on my previous video, my 1-year video. One of the reasons that I started to fast for an extended period of time was because I knew I wasn't going to die. Back when I didn't realize that extended fasting was a thing, I thought you had to eat every day. I thought in order to survive, you would have to eat at least once a day. I was practicing intermittent fasting then. I was eating once a day. I was doing OMAD for a good amount of time, but I sucked at it because I always overate. I mean, I could do the fasting part. I just always overate. And so I could never really lose weight, or I would lose a little bit and then I would plateau for a long time. So I don't know if that's necessarily a switch. You know, I said this before, but the catalyst of why I wanted to lose weight was because I needed to go to a wedding and I wanted to look good in a suit. That was the most straight, honest answer of why I wanted to do it. And I think once I realized that I was able to do extended fasts and do them comfortably and not like, I guess, struggle, it became automatic, at least for me, on my end. Now, if you're struggling with consistency, there are two ways that I can try to guide you or give you direction. The first way is the tough love part, where it's like you've done it before. You're used to doing 36s. You can do 36s. You can consistently do them. That's like the straight up, you need to have the willpower and the discipline to do so. I understand that it's tough. And I know that it's not easy for everyone. And that's also why lately I've been advocating for a backup plan. You need to figure out, if you decide to break early, that you need to start accounting for your calories. Because if you don't account for your calories, you're going to overeat. You're going to have those overeating or binging issues. Those are issues that I've dealt with for so long. So if you do break that 36 or 48 or whatever it is early, then you need to tell yourself, okay, well, I broke, so I can only eat 2,000 calories today or 1,800 or whatever it is, and then start again tomorrow. You need to continue with that willpower, that discipline, which I know a lot of people can't do consistently because life happens and things aren't always like perfect when it comes to that, or you have that backup plan in mind and you have that specific caloric number and stick with it. You can also do the other way where you just overeat completely and say, well, I messed up, I'm just going to eat whatever, but that's counterintuitive. Those are like my old habits. That's something I used to do. I'll say real quick, it's one of the reasons I tell people to comment in my videos and let me know what you're doing and what you're up to, because accountability it's a great way to keep continuing what you're doing. The reason I made this YouTube channel was for accountability, for transparency, and it makes me sure that I keep doing what I need to do because I know people are counting on me. So for anyone else who's watching this who can resonate with that, leave a comment. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know if you need an accountability partner. I feel like this community can work with each other and try to find ways to make sure we keep each other where we need to be. So the rest of this comment says, I couldn't imagine fasting for more than 50 hours, let alone 180 hours. And so the thing is, nobody's telling you to fast for that long. I understand that a lot of people want to do it because it's a quick way to lose weight, and it can be if done properly. But don't think that you have to do 50 or 65s or 90s or like the much longer ones I've done. It's not necessary if you can control your calories. That, I think, is the bigger issue, because you add on here and say food is my drug. It's so easy to relapse. Trust me, that's me. I'm the same way. Especially living alone and being home all the time, working from home and not much outside socialization due to pandemic. I'm going to nip that right here, right now. I'm going to nip that because I live alone. I'm home all the time. I'm home like 99% of the time. I work from home just like you, and I don't do much outside socialization either because of the pandemic. That is me. I'm the same way. Don't use that as an excuse. I understand. It's a way that I used to do it too. But if you can tell yourself that food is not the reason to escape, do not use food as a way to escape. That's easier said than done. I totally relate. I use food all the time, or at least I used to escape. And it's a tough one. It's something that if you need somebody to talk to or somebody to help when those tough times or rough times are coming, please, you can try to reach out to me or maybe somebody that like in the comments or whatever that wants to help out, because I get that. But if there's any way that you can tell yourself that that is not an excuse to eat or overeat, then I think you're going to be one step ahead in the game. Finally, you say here, I've been waiting for that light bulb. Hasn't happened yet. That light bulb is probably there already. It's not. So when I think about myself, I tell everybody I'm not perfect. This is a everyday struggle, like a journey that I am dealing with the ups and downs every day. Don't think that this has been a perfect, smooth road, because it isn't. That light bulb, that moment is there for you already. It's just the matter of you doing it. It's the matter of you being consistent with your goals and wanting to fast. If you can't do the 36s, don't do the 36s. Attempt a 36. If you end up doing an 18, that's great. Then just eat your caloric intake. If you go over that, that's okay. It happens. Then just the next day, go for it again. Go for it again. Go for it again. And go for it again. Because if you slide and you don't get out of that hole, that's the harder part. I think trying every day, trying to do better and be healthier and have that kind of mindset, I think is key. The mindset is really, I think, more important than anything else. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a switch for me as well, but I think I'm just actively telling myself in my head that like I can keep going, that it's not as hard as it's set out to be or anything like that. Easier said than done, but I'm doing it. And I'm sure you can do it too. All right, last question here, or kind of a question, and it was actually posted not too long ago, so I haven't even been able to respond to it, but I read it and I figured I would go through this as well. So this comment says, I'm so happy for you that you found a way that works for you. Thank you so much. I haven't found what works for me yet. I'm heavier than I'd like, and every time I succeed in a little weight loss, I end up with a period of binges and gain it all back. Also, that's me as well, or at least my past. I've succumbed to that many times. So I'm not sure where to start. I usually fast 16 to 20 hours a day, but in my eating hours, I can eat way too much in such a binge period, like now. Because of job and financial stress, I eat crap and too much of it. So this really reflects back to what I was just saying in the last question comment is I think a lot of us are trying to figure out ways to give ourselves an excuse to eat when we don't need to. Do I get stressed out? All the time. How did I used to cope with stress? I would eat and I would avoid and I would push things off. And how do I deal with it today? Because I get stressed a lot still. You guys know this. I've said this before. I work like freelance. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make rent money the next month. So I'm financially stressed all the time. But the way I deal with it now is I don't go for food. I will go for a walk. I will maybe watch a YouTube video. I'll keep myself busy with work. I'll double down with work. But the one thing that I do not put in my head anymore is you have to eat. Or, man, does food sound like because when you start using that as your way out, it is that slippery slope. And it's something that I have done time and time again. And it's almost freeing in a way to be able to not, or at least to be able to know that I am not using that as my escape route. All right, so it continues on here and says, the longest I've ever fasted was 47 hours. I'm not sure what I'm asking you. An input maybe. So I think my advice to you is, and like I've said to others, and this is something that I will probably start preaching in future videos as well, is figure out where you're comfortable at when it comes to fasting. If you want to push those hours, you can. That's the extra discipline, the extra willpower that goes along with it. And it's not going to be easy. I've said this in the past too, is life isn't always easy. I talk about trying to be comfortable, trying to do things so it's enjoyable so that you can do it every day. But I also believe that a little discomfort is important when it comes to growth. I think that's still important. And I think trying to balance that too is a good way, because it's great when you can do things automatically and run on autopilot with positive results. But I also think there's a time and place where you ever have those times where you're working out and you're like, man, I feel really good. Like I can sprint right now. And you do, and you just have that energy. So with times like that, that's when you kind of push that willpower and try to push that out. What I'm trying to say is figure out where you can fast, what's comfortable for you, and then figure out your caloric intake and make sure you have that backup plan in place to know that if you don't hit your fasting time, that you know how many calories you have to eat to keep losing weight or to maintain weight and not to gain weight. I don't know if everything that I wanted to convey came out as properly as I intended it to be. The end of this comment says, I stumbled upon your channel and I've seen a lot of your videos now. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I'm glad I found you. I admire your honesty and realness. Thanks for being you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. It does mean a lot to me. I think that it's important that there are YouTube channels out there where people are as honest and as transparent as they can be, especially when it comes to stuff like this, especially when it comes to things like, hey, I might have issues with eating. A lot of what I've read here is a lot of people are similar to me, where they might not be able to control how much they eat in one day. And that's why I push and I do 65-hour fasts, because I know that I can't eat 2,200 calories every day because I know I'll overeat, which is why I push my fasts longer so I can eat more and continue to lose weight. All right, so as I wrap this up, just one or two quick things. If you are having issues, if you are having trouble, please let me know. Leave a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know about your progress. I think, again, it's important to have accountability. It doesn't have to be with me. It can be with maybe somebody else that you find in the community. Maybe it could be with a friend or a family member that you trust that you're trying to lose weight with. But I think having accountability in general is just really important. All right, guys, I think that's it for today. if you have a chance, hit that subscribe button. Subscribing is a way to support the channel, and it does help even though it might not seem like it. Liking the video helps as well. I do appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section, and I will try to get back to you like I try to do with everybody, as soon as possible. And then for anybody that wants to help support an extra way, I do have a Patreon. You can check that out at patreon.com/finallyfasting. It is just a way to kind of help offset costs with what I do. So either way, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will be working on an episode of Refeed. So for anybody that's missing me eating, that'll be coming soon. Otherwise, that's it for today. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I will talk to you soon. Have a good one. Take it easy. Bye.